Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Lilian, and sadly, sans Mike, without Mike. We love you, Mike, but you didn't come for the Japanese Film Festival with us, so maybe spiritually he was there, in some
yeah, I felt
in
his
some
presence.
sense.
He did respond to my letterbox review of Seven Samurai.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did he say?
I forgot. Oh, something. My point about why the guy would even agree to do that for the peasants in the first place. Mike was like, "Yeah, I also wondered that."
That's interesting. Yeah, and I would say that more than the both of us, Mike loves Japanese films.
Yes.
He seeks them out. He's
like trying to do the whole of war, I feel.
Here's a question. Why is Mike so into Japanese?
Why? You gotta ask Mike. No, he said on our last podcast, he likes the vehicle into a different culture. But why Japanese culture? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Maybe he likes conformity,
Why? I don't know. Yeah. But I feel like a lot of Japanese culture in the movies are not always
they're not.
conformist.
And they're really not.
They're really not, yeah. But before we go any further, I just want to comment on how we're doing, how we're feeling. I'm feeling great because Anand just made a homemade meal for us, which was vegan chickpea curry, and it was freaking delicious.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy it ate. We're going to have a great meal on top of that great meal.
Cheers.
In this podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
So
if you want the recipe, links down below. I'm kidding. There's no links down below.
I don't know if I can replicate it to you, but anyway.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. So for today we're going to go quickly through 3 films that Lilian and I saw at the Japanese Film Festival. I think we're doubling down our efforts on supporting film festivals in Singapore after sadly the projector is no longer, but cinema never dies.
That's a good point. I feel like the projector was the venue for a lot of the film festivals. So for this film festival, we saw one at Asian Film Archive.
Yes.
And then the other 2 at Golden Village Suntec.
Yes, and I must say this is the first time I saw a film at the Asian Film Archive.
Really?
Yeah, I'd never seen it. I've always wondered about it because Scorsese even mentioned it because Scorsese is very into film preservation and things like that.
Cool.
So it's like a landmark that I'd always wanted to see. When you enter, it's a little bit like you're watching like a school presentation or something. But once they dim the lights, it's fine. It's nice.
It's like a classroom setting.
Yeah. And it's a free seating vibe, which
is kind of...
It's very American. I don't know. It's like...
I mean, it's what I'm used to, but I'm American. So,
Yeah. I mean, the only time I did go for the cinema in America was in LA. I went to Quentin Tarantino cinema, and it was, of course, free seating, and everybody stood out in line for an hour. But then one thing I didn't like was that there's no elevated seating.
Oh, yeah.
So everything is flat. So you're seeing everybody's heads.
Oh, okay.
So there's more of an incentive actually to go to the front because you see less heads.
Oh, interesting.
Which was weird to me. And we also saw Barry Lyndon at the Prince Charles Cinema.
That up. Yeah.
And that seating is sort of like a curve down.
That was crazy.
That was interesting.
I felt like I was like in a hole in the ground somehow. Yeah.
That wasn't too bad actually. I liked that. But I still prefer the traditional. I don't know if it's traditional.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I started going to the Asian Film Archive because of my friend Sagar, and he's really into Asian films. So I've been quite a bit, but I also paid for a membership. So I need to see 30 films to get my money back. But anyway, so... Should we go through the movies that we saw?
Yeah.
What did we see?
So we started off with The Ballad of Narayama.
Perfect.
Did you know about this film before?
Nothing. I knew nothing. I was just trying to use up my AFA membership.
Okay. I only knew about it because it's in the Criterion Collection, and I've studied all the posters of the Criterion Collection, and it's like a anime picture. You can show it here or something with this old lady in snow. Yeah. And that intrigued me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we describe the other 2 films, or we'll get to it when we get to it?
Whatever you want.
We'll get to it when we get to it.
Okay, let's talk about that one first.
Yeah, so The Ballad of Narayama, do you want to give a brief synopsis?
Sure. So, do you remember the term for that process?
It starts with a U.
Yeah,
Let me find this.
Yeah.
It's actually like a fictitious form of Japanese senocide. I think that's the word, where you kill your elders when they are about to die.
So it doesn't happen in real life. It's fictitious.
I checked on Wikipedia. It's fictitious.
Okay.
But it's very widely believed, I guess. It's sort of, did you ever see, sorry for the sidebar, but did you ever see Gladiator? Oh, not Gladiator, the other one, Braveheart. Braveheart,
okay.
a big plot of Braveheart is the idea of, I think it's rites on the first night, where there's this plot where when you are about to get married, the lord of the manor has the right to sleep with your wife on the first night.
Yeah.
And that's very prevalent throughout all like history, like literature.
Yeah.
But apparently that was
Wasn't
very,
even a
not a
real
thing.
thing.
So it seems similar to this. It's called ubasute, ubasute. It's a
Oh, you're
mythical
right.
practice
Of
of
course you're right.
senocide in Japan,
Mythical.
whereby an infirm or elderly relative was carried to a mountain or some other remote, desolate place and left there to die.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this film is about ubasute.
Ubasute, yeah.
And it's actually, I think, based on a book that was also made into a film in the 1950s, but this movie came out in the 80s. But we are in this rural village, and essentially in the village, once you turn 60, the strongest man in the family, probably the son, will put the father or mother on their back and take them to the peak of this mountain to die.
Yeah.
And so in this movie, we have that woman character, and I feel like she's really ready to die, and she views it as very noble and a very a cultural practice that really defines who they are as a people. But we have other characters in her family, including the noble son, who I think is very duty driven and does his role. Kind of the silly son who's useless, the one who never has had sex. They're brothers, right?
Yeah.
And then a few other, I can't remember everyone.
Yeah, so I guess the whole thrust of this film is this matriarch grandmother figure.
Yeah.
I think her impetus, or like her driving force to, I guess, sacrifice herself is because she
true.
recognized that one other family, the patriarch of that family, was dragged kicking and screaming up the mountain, and she thought that was very undignified or humiliating experience. So she sort of took it upon herself to say, I will do this nobly, I will give myself up to this sort of ritual, but I need to set my house in order before I do so.
Oh, really? I feel like she wanted to sacrifice herself because there was not enough food, and it's a very brutal village life.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was kind of, maybe that's why ubasute is so compelling, is because it's kind of realizing you've outlived your usefulness.
Yes.
And you're not a strong body now to help with because she, I feel really believes that, and so she's really ready to just move forward. The kicking and screaming guy, I feel like his son tied him down. Why?
Oh, because I guess it's either you go willingly or I'm going to drag you up there.
Yeah.
And she thought it was very undignified to be dragged by your children up there. And I think that plays into that whole vibe where she was breaking her teeth to show the village that she's preparing herself for that.
I think, I really felt like her motivation was I've outlived my usefulness, this is the way it should be, and everything should be for the youth, the next generation. It seemed like a very traditional value system where the baby was really important, and just keeping now I'm getting it mixed up with Seven Samurai. But there was also this feeling of inter-village conflict, right?
Yeah, so essentially she tries to make everything whole in the village. So one of her sons
buried alive. That was this
movie, right? So one of her sons is really pathetic. He doesn't he can't catch a girl to save his life, and this is really disgusting when he engages in bestiality with the dog. And this is one of the problems. One of the things that Lilian and I have been talking about a lot when it comes to Asian films is sometimes there are tonal inconsistencies, especially with Japanese films, where I guess this banging dog narrative is kind of comedic.
Funny,
it's kind of, but it's a bit bizarre and it comes out of nowhere. And I don't know if it completely, maybe I would say for this film it detracts from the central narrative, but Lilian pointed out to me there are also this kind of tonal inconsistencies in Kurosawa's films that I kind of embrace, that I think provide levity to the hardcore narrative, which I don't think really doesn't work here. But
completely agree with everything
Yeah,
you just said. And then the other thing I was going to add is I feel like a key theme of this movie is like life is so tough, and in order to survive as like a little village or community, you have to be like really strict on the rules. So
Absolutely.
they find this one girl stealing from the larder, is that the word? Like she's stealing from the stores of food from the other.
I think her whole family, right, has
the
been
whole family.
hoarding and stealing food from neighboring families.
And this value system, like being a hard worker is like the best thing you can be. And like farming the rice and contributing, like that is definitely the work ethic and that is the value system. And so when this family is found out for having stolen stuff, they bury them alive.
Yeah, it was quite a brutal scene.
It was so brutal.
It was very brutal, and it's sort of... But I think it makes sense within the context of the entire film. Nature plays a very, very big part. There's wonderful sceneries of insects and animals and the brutality of the environment. But most of the animal sequences are like literally animal eating animal or something like that, where it's a very brutal environment. So I think the matriarch, in order for her family and for the society to survive, she responds by doing this mass murder of these this family.
No, they just have this very strict code, which is exactly, I feel like it is a metaphor. So throughout the movie there are interspersed these nature scenes, like exactly what Anand said. And I feel like that was meant for us to think about like, what is the difference between animals and humans? Are we the more evolved, more like we've created this community, we've created social structures, but because this is set like pre-industrial period, you still have to act like an animal in order for the good of the village. Like if one person is stealing, you gotta like kick that behavior out immediately.
And it reminded me a lot of 12 Years a Slave. I don't know if you'd ever seen that film, but that film is so retching to watch. It's very, very difficult to watch, but it's an amazing film, and it's punctuated by scenes of the wonderful nature of like the Mississippi South, and I think that acted as a respite for the audience to relax in between the scenes of brutality. But here, this film, it accentuates the scenes of brutality.
I really like this point.
And also it kind of reminded me a bit of The Zone of Interest we watched together, and that also had nature involved. So it's kind of interesting the way that I always find films sort of give the audience breathing room to recover from events. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying this film did it very well,
I think
but
you're right. I think besides the bestiality, which was just like too much for a modern viewer, I feel like, but I think the other scenes about him failing to get a girl and just being kind of like an idiot were meant to be a little bit of comedic relief. But I definitely take your point that maybe it wasn't the most effective use of it.
There was another comedic narrative which didn't work for me either, but was better than this one, which was this woman's husband is like on his deathbed, and then she sort of promises to bang every guy in the village for him. There's a lot of sex in this movie.
So I read in Wikipedia that they wanted to screen this in China, but he would have had to take out all the sex scenes, and so then he refused.
I think it's because it's supposed to juxtapose the deaths involved, and I don't know if this is true, but I think I read once that like after there's a death in the family or a death in the society, that libidos increase as some sort of counter reaction to it.
But they're super struggling in this village. It's like, babies are thrown into the paddy to die because the family doesn't have enough food. It's like really rough out there. But another theme that I did like about this movie that I wanted to hear your thoughts on is I also feel like it was very emotional how the son felt about taking his mother up there. And like he really didn't want her to go, I think. And it was like this tension between like duty and also fulfilling her wishes versus like him just really respecting her, or I guess it's like his mom. So, and he really is critical of his father, who, do you remind me what happened with his father?
Wasn't the father absent the whole film? Do they have a throwaway line where they explained what happened to the dad?
There's some key he has a really strong, he feels very shamed because someone didn't do this practice. Remember? Someone else didn't do it because they were a coward.
Okay.
And he was like this character is very much like, even though it pains me and I love my mom, I'm not a coward.
Right.
And like, I will do this regardless. And it's like very strenuous and like he has to hike for 10 days or 3 days or whatever.
I guess this also has to punctuate the collectivist versus an individualist kind of a society.
Thank you.
Yeah. Where I guess the Japanese tend to be, as most Asian cultures are, where the good of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
You totally articulated what I meant to say.
And in this sense, because he has an emotional attachment to his mom, he realizes the whole.
Which is what makes some of these idiot characters very frustrating, because it's like they get to reap the rewards, but they're not contributing as much. But also, I feel like that's inevitable. Like, you'll never have a community where everyone is like equally contributing. And
also, this was making me think that sometimes some things are implemented in order for survival purposes. For example, in this case, we need to let go of the elderly so that we can survive, right? But then it transforms into this sort of cultural phenomenon where there's things of dignity and honor, and it's supposed to be self-perpetuated. So no one will, this actually eliminates the ability for people to think, oh, there must be a better way to solve this problem. It's sort of, I don't know.
And on that note, I think that is so true, because they also have this like rites that they do. Like, they bring in all the elders, they drink the sake, they put on special clothes, he like builds the hitch for her to go on. So I think you're totally right about like the cultural practices. The other thing I really liked about this movie was like the use of the seasons. Like, spring is like renewal and rebirth, but then everyone's worried, like, do we have enough food for winter? And then they send the old people to die like before winter, right? So that it's like less mouths to feed during the difficult period. And like, as she gets up the mountain, it like starts to snow. So I just felt like that visual imagery like really also added to the metaphor of like sacrifice.
And also, we should mention that throughout this film, I was constantly thinking of Midsommar, the Ari Aster film, and it's very blatantly. A lot of themes are copied from this for Midsommar.
This was very
influential or inspiring. There, in fact, is a scene where there is some sort of. What do they call that pole that they dance around in Midsommar? There's a pole that they dance around in this. And in Midsommar, there's also senocide as well. The killing of the elderly.
Old people sacrifice themselves.
Which is,
But it's more of like in a horror context in Midsommar, whereas in this movie it's so interesting because it's kind of like, that is the biggest gift you can give your community is to die.
Absolutely. So weird. And it was also making me think a lot about, maybe this is the stretch, but about how like a big problem that we're going to have is we're going to have way more elderly, and it's going to be a bigger burden on the society. I remember seeing an interview with Ong Ye-kung recently where he said when he first entered office, healthcare costs were $9 billion, and now it's $21 billion a year. Purely because of the rapid number of elderly that we're, and it's going to get even more. I do not promote senocide.
But we still want them to.
We're going to find a solution for this problem. Love you guys. I'm going to go old. She's going to go old. But the thing is that it's an issue that we have to solve. You see what I mean? And this society solved it in that manner. We're going to have to find a different manner.
This is a pre-industrial society. So like a lot of these things we don't do now, which is like murder robbers. Like, you just try to rehabilitate them instead of like literally bury them alive. But I was really glad to see this with you because I feel that it was a little bit difficult to watch. And you're obviously my film buddy, but also it's cool that you could see the influence on Ari Aster and Midsommar. So I feel like overall it was like a very, I wouldn't say enjoyable, but I'm glad we did it.
I really did not enjoy watching this movie, but I enjoy having watched it. Does that make sense?
Totally
like,
makes sense.
It's not fun.
Like, I don't think I would watch it again.
No, I really wouldn't.
I like thinking about it, and I really liked those nature scenes.
The
nature scenes are so. It's just like all of a sudden, a frog is eating a frog, or like
and it's sort of like. There is a consistent narrative throughout it, but while you're watching it, it feels just like a collection of stuff in a bag. You know, this is happening, then that's happening. Why is this happening? I don't know. Would we recommend this film?
I think if you're into films, you should definitely watch it. If you're like a kind of lay person, I don't know. It's not like
it's not necessarily for the lay person, but if anything we said here intrigues you about it, take a look at it, and it's also kind of an interestingly shot film. It's
I
a
was gonna say,
1980s
it is
film.
pretty to I thought some of the scenes were really beautiful.
Yeah.
Especially towards the end when he's taking her up the mountain.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Cool.
Okay, shall we move on to movie number 2?
Yes.
Okay, movie number 2, I'm going to have you describe. We saw Ghost in the Shell.
So, Ghost in the Shell is the film that was made based on this manga that was serialized in the late 90s.
Right.
And it's also Japanese, obviously. And the premise is that there's a secret agency within the government that has like these robot personalities that kind of are able to tap into the network, and they're cyborgs. They have like different features and products implanted into them, and one of them, I forgot her name, the main character, starts to like realize her own consciousness.
We can call her Major. She's a Major.
Yeah,
I guess.
I don't know what her.
I don't know what her name is.
I forgot to look up the summary before this, but Major is the main like female cyborg who's part of the special unit, and everyone's trying to track down the puzzle master. Is that right?
Yes.
Puzzle master. Nebulous. Yeah, but then basically Major, I think, starts to realize that the puzzle master maybe like holds the key to what it means to be human versus cyborg, and I feel like she starts to have kind of like an awakening. But that's kind of it. I mean, there's a lot of action. She's like trying.
There are a lot.
They're trying to track down this evil guy. There's like some bureaucracy politics of the different agencies.
So yeah, just maybe to take a step back, like this is my first anime film I've ever seen. I don't know why I've always been. Maybe not like reticent to watch anime films, but I'm like, there's so many films I need to see.
You don't mean animated. You mean films based on anime. You've never seen that? That can't be true. You've never seen an animated movie? What about The Lion King?
No, anime, like a Japanese anime. Is that how you would describe this?
I haven't either.
You've seen Spirited Away, right? Doesn't that classify?
That's just animated.
Oh, I thought that would classify under an anime is a Japanese animated film.
No, I think it's different. I mean, I'm not a manga head, but I think animes are like serialized. Episodes come out every week.
Oh, okay.
And this is a film based on the anime.
Let me see, what's the definition of anime? Animation originating from Japan. So
but
I guess this
people use the word anime, I feel they're referring to the serialized, like Demon Hunter or like those. Yeah.
Well, this is my first Japanese animated film.
Yeah, I think it's me too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
I don't consider Studio Ghibli anime. That's just animated.
But it's an animated film,
yes,
right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, like Moana.
Yeah. Anyway. So, and also one of our dear friends, Sarid, she loves this film and she recommended it to us. I have to say, like, I think I need to rewatch this movie to truly understand it.
Yeah.
Because I guess I'm very used to watching foreign films and used to dealing with subtitles, but this film is a very short film. It's like barely 90 minutes. Yeah. And there's a lot of information and this huge, very intricate world. Everything is just being thrown at you. And I felt the subtitles were going by really fast. And as I was trying to like soak in the world, trying to follow the plot, I think we're going to struggle with all the intricacies that was going behind it. But like my idea of the themes were that they were looking at AI, they were looking at cyberkinetics or whatever the word was, the idea of the soul, the ghost in the shell.
But I don't think, I totally agree.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's where it was a bit lacking for me. I'm pretty sure I've seen the remake with Scarlett Johansson, and that's why maybe I have a little bit more, like the themes were easier because I feel like I had seen the remake. But I totally agree that those are the intended themes. But I just feel like, especially for do you have a soul and what does it mean to have a consciousness, it didn't go deep enough. Like, it felt very surface level. Like, I wish she had more of a, like, eureka moment.
Absolutely,
Because it kind of just ends without much reflection, I feel.
Yeah, it felt like they were throwing at the wall a ton of different ideas, but I don't know if they let them breathe too much.
Yeah.
Or maybe they did. I need to rewatch this to truly break it down, but from my understanding, the plot is that Major is some agent that works for the government. She opens the film by killing this guy that wants to defect, Do you recall
I
this?
literally can't remember the plot. It was so like.
And one criticism, this is a very strong criticism I have of this film, even though as a heterosexual man, the amount of unnecessary female nudity is ridiculous.
Are you gonna
Anytime she does any operation whatsoever, she has to completely undress head to toe naked and then jump 50 feet into this.
This is like all the nerdy Japanese men are just like, can she be naked?
Yes, I know.
So bad.
It doesn't serve any purpose for this plot.
No, definitely not.
She can be very, very athletically, beautifully built.
Yeah.
I'm not, but there needs to be a point for this nakedness. You know what I mean?
So for me, that was the con. And then I think the pro is I did really like the cyberpunk setting.
Yes, yeah.
And I really like that. The thing that I like about steampunk is kind of like Mad Max. It's like elements of the old combined with a very futuristic society. And in this movie, you have that. Like, there's still a garbage truck, even though they're in the future and everything is like on chips and computerized. And I think in particular, Japan is really, because Japan was so technologically advanced in the 80s.
Absolutely, yeah.
But now they're not really seen that way, and so I feel like Japan is a great like landscape for that kind of like cyberpunk, steampunk vibe, and it's definitely the whole world in this movie is beautifully drawn. Like that. Yeah.
And it was very pervasive to me that setting is basically Hong Kong. Because
that was so interesting. For sure, 100% it's Hong Kong.
And I was born and brought up in Hong Kong, and to me, Hong Kong just felt like Hong Kong. It was home. But after I've left Hong Kong and I moved to Singapore and watching all these films, whenever they wanted sort of a dystopian city kind of a vibe, like Blade Runner, or even like Batman Begins or this film, they use Hong Kong as a dark, grimy kind of a futuristic but also grungy kind of a setting, which kind of it tickles me.
I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was so interesting because I was kind of like, why does Tokyo look like Hong Kong? It's so interesting.
I guess maybe it's the neon lights. There's something about it. Everyone's packed together.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. But it's just so interesting that what I love about it is also what this filmmaker loved about it. To kind of set his story there, or maybe the manga takes place there. I don't know, but
maybe before we wrap up, unless we have more to talk about, but there was one thing that I did think I found kind of interesting is the idea that she's chasing this puppet master who is some sort of an sophisticated AI that everyone is going after, and he sort of confesses to her that he yearns to be mortal. I don't know if that's a correct interpretation of this. I may be wrong. And he wants to join with the major. And then what she gets out of it is that she gets all his powers, but he gets to die. And I found this really fascinating to me. It's sort of like, because it is also still an up in the air question of what AI is going to eventually turn out to be. Everyone talks about AGI, but no one can really define it. So the idea of it being this all-encompassing divine-like figure, would it yearn to be more human? Do you know what I mean? Or at least if being human means being mortal. You know what I mean? I thought that was an interesting premise plot, and also I could see a lot of the Matrix in this movie, and a lot of echoes of different science fiction must have borrowed from this film. But
I think that's definitely, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, there's also this question they ask each other is like, what percentage cyborg are you? Or like, how many parts of your body are machine now? And I think it's definitely trying to toy with the idea of like, if you replace everything from the organic substance, are you even human anymore? And like, I think Ghost in the Shell does refer to the soul.
I would say, before we wrap up on this film, I don't know why I was very triggered by this throughout watching this film, is the idea is every time the major, this woman, says anything benign, Japanese men just tear her down. Do you remember? It really annoyed me. There's a sequence in this film where she enjoys taking long dives into the ocean in the night.
She could electrocute.
Whatever. Like she can do this activity.
They don't.
And then her like bestie companion guy is like, "Why are you swimming at night?" She's just like, "Oh, it's peaceful. It's nice." Nonsense. It's terrible. You know, there's a lot of that throughout this film. Anytime anyone says anything, someone sort of negates what they're saying. I didn't like that, but anyways,
this is a good observation, and I hear you on it for sure. I feel like it's also a little bit, the genre is like over exaggerated. Like, even in Korean soaps, they're always like, really? Oh my god! Like, how, it's just like a bit over dramatic. But that aside, I do think even that aside, there was a lot of not trusting her or like
Yeah.
criticizing her.
I think it's sort of like, I don't know, policing people's behavior so that
Yeah.
they conform.
Yeah.
And maybe he desires to swim in the ocean as well.
Yeah.
But he can't do
That's
that.
right.
Yes, I don't know.
right.
Maybe that's
no, I
why.
think you're right.
It's performative.
He
I
knows
guess,
that it's like common sense is you should. No, I think I actually think this is essential to the film on it.
Yeah.
It's like you're cyborg, so you shouldn't go into the ocean because that is a direct danger to you.
Yeah.
So it's like common sense to not do it.
Yeah.
So the fact that she does it, and also when she does it, she gets into that meditative state. That's when she feels closer to her soul.
Naked
so I feel,
meditative
yeah,
state.
So I feel like you're uncovering like the thesis of the film, which is like as she becomes more human, it's because she's like breaking away from
Yeah.
conformity. I don't know. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, cool.
Any? What did you like Ghost in the Shell? Would you recommend Ghost in the Shell?
I agree with you that a second rewatch would help a lot, but I actually, now that it's been a few weeks, can't get over the naked boob thing. Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like, meh, I'm
Yeah.
okay.
I think,
It didn't bother me
yeah.
that much right after, but now I'm just kind of like, this is so silly. What do
Yeah.
you think? Would you?
I need to be in a, what's the word, a transitive state or something
Yeah.
to enjoy this film again.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I gotta watch it again. I didn't enjoy it the first time watch, but I want to give it a second shot.
From a plot perspective, like the action and the pacing, I did not really find it that enjoyable. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just the mystery was confusing. There wasn't a lot of like build up and release. It was just kind of like you said, like a lot of concepts thrown together. So in that way, I didn't find it like super entertaining to watch.
Yeah, but it's so widely celebrated. Everyone's talked about it forever. So I feel like I've always heard about Ghost in the Shell.
Okay.
It's very widely
Maybe
respected.
It's like the first of its kind.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give it another shot.
should,
I'll
yeah.
watch it again,
Let me know.
and we'll move on to
A classic, a masterpiece.
classic masterpiece, Seven Samurai. I'll just briefly, the synopsis of the Seven Samurai is a tale as old as time. We are in, I don't know, 16th century Japan. I can never keep track of all the centuries.
No, that's right.
And we have this very vulnerable village of defenseless village of these villagers, peasants, and every harvest these bandits come in and then they take all their harvests and leave them barely enough to survive.
It's the feuding period.
Yeah,
So the past few years, because something about the dynasties or what the emperors, so it's like chaos.
Yes.
So if you're defenseless, then you could be raided by bandits.
Absolutely. And the governing bodies at the time do nothing. They never lift a finger.
Correct.
And the peasants are on the brink of like mass suicide or something. They're so dejected.
'Cause all their food
They're
was
so
stolen.
devastated.
Yeah.
In fact, the film, I love the way this film opens. It's sort of like, hey, there's this village, let's go raid them. And one guy stops and is like, oh, we raided them like really recently. Let's give them time. Otherwise, if we raid them now, they'll starve to death and we can't juice them again.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful way to start off this movie because
it's also
it
very
explains.
profound, which is like when you exploit people, you also cannot outright destroy them. You have to give them a little leash.
Yeah. It made me think a lot about how the idea that trade acts as a pacifying force, where I have an incentive to kill you and take your stuff, but if we start trading, I have an incentive for you to prosper, that kind of a vibe. And anyways, the peasants decide to go into the village and they have to find some protectors. So they decide to find some samurai, and it's a sort of like an Ocean's 11 kind of a tale where they have to find these samurai, but they can only offer them food. So the specific types of samurai that they have to find are rather desperate, and that would work for food. And they're probably Ronin. They don't have any particular master. So they are lucky enough to find one old guy, the George Clooney. And George Clooney brings up this ragtag team of misfits. Actually, most of them are very competent. We just have one major misfit, I guess.
One of my favorite parts of the film is procuring the samurai and trying to understand the motivation behind each samurai, like why they would do this. Is it because like they're pathetic or they're a friend of Ganbei or like the other reasons? And I just thought it was so interesting.
Right. And
it is like misfits.
But the number one misfit is played by the legendary Toshiro Mifune.
So good.
Yeah, he plays very different from High and Low. This sort of very wild, erratic, I don't know, figure that's always jumping around and is.
But have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, yeah.
That is literally what what's the guy?
Chris Pratt?
Yeah, is modeled his character off of.
Really?
I don't know. But I feel like I see like his like the kind of like kooky like hero who like doesn't really know what he's doing and is like ridiculous. I feel like that is exactly.
Yeah, I mean this is sort of an archetypical kind of a comedic character.
Yeah.
He's sort of like a scoundrel, but he's kind of got a heart of gold. He's sincere.
And things work out for him. Like he's competent.
Yeah, he is competent, but he's sort of shunned, but also embraced.
Yeah.
Also, the flag that they have, you know, it's got like 6 circles, and then one is dedicated to him.
Yeah.
And then as we move on in the tale, we sort of see the relationship between the villagers and the samurai.
Yeah.
They're initially extremely scared of the samurai, and they're like, well, this is more of is this a hero's welcome? And do you want to dive into some of the dynamics you thought you...
Yeah. I feel like people would be pretty familiar, so we won't go so much into the plot, but I really love this. This is the first time I had seen it. You've seen it many times?
No, I've seen it once before.
Okay.
It's a very long film.
Oh my god, it's 3 hours
it's very long.
I need to start looking up runtimes of movies that I go see with Anand because Barry Lyndon was also more than 3 hours. But anyway, there's an intermission, which I really love. We should bring back intermissions for long movies. Things I loved about Seven Samurai, I just think the whole idea of having a social structure where there's this like very strong class, like the samurai, and then them protecting like the peasants who are totally like hopeless or whatever. That dynamic I feel is like a tale as old as time, could be told in so many different genres. Like one of my favorite animated movies is A Bug's Life,
nice.
which is literally this movie.
Is it the similar themes?
I think they copied Seven Samurai now that I know. It's the ants are being taken advantage of by the grasshoppers.
Of course,
Yeah, and they store up all this food, and then the grasshoppers just steal it all. And I love that movie. So I think it's just a testament to that juxtaposition of like, and so then the ants go find a band of insects to come fight for them.
Yeah.
So it's literally the same. Anyway, my point is I feel like that theme is so fertile and so rich, and like you could make so many movies, different genres, whatever, and it's still interesting. And just like the relationship between the peasants and the samurai, and even within the samurai, the Seven Samurai to each other, just seeing that unfold throughout the movie really makes me think Kurosawa is a genius in understanding like human dynamics.
Absolutely.
And like power dynamics.
Yes. Yeah, and also we could touch a little bit on the subplot of the daughter. So there's one of the scenes, one of the villagers' daughters, he is so petrified that she's going to get raped by the samurai or the bandits. So he grabs her and then cuts her hair. But as time goes by, probably the most like, I guess, noble of the Seven Samurai, the very like preppy.
He's just very junior.
He's very junior.
Like, originally, the main Kanbei, I think is his name. The main one was like, "You're too young. You shouldn't join us. You don't know anything." But this guy's so eager. He's like an ingenue. He really wants to like, be with them. Yeah.
He sort of falls for her, or she falls for him, and then they fall in love. I think they do consummate their love, but they're found out, and then she's sort of like, I don't know, ostracized. Ostracized by the community, and to the extent that the samurai have to step in, and it's like, this is like love. This isn't like anything.
So again, I feel like it's so interesting because like the samurai are seen as having like some moral superiority or like authority at least. Like they're very noble. And like the peasants, I feel like are depicted as like less noble. Like they don't really have morals, so to speak. Or at least that's the vibe I get.
They seem selfish.
Yes.
They seem self-centered.
Exactly, which is kind of like selfishness is kind of like the opposite of nobleness
in
some ways.
Yeah, maybe also in Ballad of Narayama, you know, it's that kind of a thing, and it sort of interests me because
they're just trying to survive.
Because in Christianity, blessed are the meek. There's some sort of inherent nobleness in the poorest rung of society, whereas in this tale, it seems like we have a noblesse oblige. We have an obligation to this lowest rung, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're angelically virtuous.
Yeah, and I think that is, I totally agree, and I feel like that's one of the most interesting things about this movie is because can I say? Like, some samurais die.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Well, now you know.
They don't all survive.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know what you think. I feel like it wasn't worth it. Like, it's really bad. Like, every human life is equal, obviously, but I just feel that, like, I don't see why the samurais would decide. Maybe I'm a bad person. I just feel like that is what the movie is asking you to
They're
think
not worth
about.
saving, I guess.
Or, I don't know, at the end, he says, like, the peasants are the ones who really won.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I'm kind of like, well, why did you even agree to like,
help
you,
them.
yeah, so was it just, like, you're so noble? Or is it because, what is the quote from the Bible? Like, just meek people are inherently, like, something to protect?
Yes,
You know?
yeah.
Like, yeah.
But it sort of thinks to me about the nature of a soldier. Let's say you're called up by your nation to fight this war that you don't really care about. You'd rather be at home asleep, but you're forced to do all the sacrifice things, and then you go home and everyone has benefited from your sacrifice. And I guess it would make sense that you'd feel resentful.
Yeah.
Like, what was
But
the point
were
of that?
mercenaries. Like, they agreed.
Absolutely.
It's like a transaction.
But then at the same time,
is so
it's sort of like you
interesting,
could defect as a soldier, where you're doing it's a sense of duty,
Yeah.
it's a sense of
No, it's
obligation.
almost like the transaction is more honored than if you're just drafted up by the government.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes sense. I guess, the ending is rather melancholy because it ends with all these peasants like singing in the fields and
Yeah.
they're very thrilled,
Yeah.
while the samurai are dejected because they've lost their
Yeah.
brethren.
But I'm just like, what did you expect? Like, this is what you signed up for. There's no way all of you could have survived. And I think they knew that. I think that must be something about being a samurai, is like you just really confront death. Like, no one sacrifices themselves, but they're definitely, and I really enjoyed all of the fight scenes.
Yeah.
The fight scenes were so good and really
Yeah.
clever and really entertaining, even though it was long. Maybe it could have been like 10 minutes shorter.
But
It
I
could kinda
guess
drag, but-
their singing is like, kind of pervasive. It can sting you. Like, for example, you come back from World War I, 1918,
Yeah.
and then people have moved on to the Roaring Twenties. It must make you feel a bit awful. You know what I mean?
No, but
It's
I just
like
feel the
everyone
samurais
is
in
so
the beginning
thrilled.
of the movie are so, at least Kanbei is so self-aware. I feel like throughout he kind of goes into this being like, I don't really understand his motivation, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, that's fair
I feel like he
enough,
has
yeah.
his eyes wide open.
Yeah.
And the singing, I don't think is salt in the wounds. I think the
Salt
singing,
in the wounds,
I
yeah.
don't think that, I think the singing is just like, kind of makes them appear dopey and like, it, like, just like, they're not really
Yeah.
that deep.
Yeah.
I feel like they're just kind of simple.
I think also, maybe this is wrong, this is definitely wrong, but the idea of, in that kind of Japanese society, you don't really get to choose your
Yeah.
fate or your status
Yeah.
in society. You're a samurai,
Yeah.
you're a peasant, you're a peasant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The whole
And
thing
you
about lineage, remember,
Yeah.
there's the whole thing about like I came from a lineage. of
correct,
samurais,
and
yeah.
it's your obligation to
Yes.
help them, and it's
Yeah.
their obligation to be helped by
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Kind of a vibe.
And
you
I
know
feel
what
like
I mean?
Kurosawa, that's what he's doing. He's kind of making you think like, why is it like that? Do the peasants really like deserve
Right.
to get that protection?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he's definitely like playing with that theme.
And also, like, I wanted to ask you, because this film has, not to mention A Bug's Life, but it's been adapted many, many times.
I love that A Bug's Life is
yeah.
the first one. There's
We have
much
A Bug's
more
Life.
famous movies.
We have
Yeah.
The Magnificent Seven,
Yeah.
lovely film with Steve McQueen and Yul Brynner. Then we have the Dollars trilogy. The first Clint Eastwood one is based on, or maybe I might be messing up. That's another Kurosawa remake. But the point I'm trying to make is that this seems like a very old tale that resonates with a lot of people.
I mean, the
what
thing-
do you
yeah.
think about it that resonates? Is it just the idea of what we need to be protected, or a society is vulnerable,
Yeah.
we need some sort of defense?
I
Is this
really think it's the mercenary aspect of it. This is something Mike says all the time, which is Star Wars is just a blatant ripoff of Seven Samurai. And I think the idea, like, we're all very used to the idea of, like, doing something for the nation or for the glory of the country or for your tribe or, like you were saying, like, getting drafted into an army. But I feel like this idea of, like, hiring protectors to come in and save you, I don't know if Magnificent Seven is like that. It's like a direct remake. I don't know. Or is it just a...
Magnificent Seven, very, very close, but it's set in like Mexico.
To me, at
yeah.
least, the motivation of, like, why would these strong people help these weak people is, like, something that I think is very timeless.
Right, yeah.
And it's... Yeah, just this, like, what do we owe each other? And, like... critiquing or poking holes at power dynamics or structures where there are these classes,
Absolutely.
you know? It's very relatable.
I don't know if this would complicate the film further and maybe detract from the message, but I felt maybe the Japanese samurai were a bit too ubiquitously morally good. And like the bandits, when we cut to the bandits, they're really, evil. They've all got wizened, ugly faces. They're spitting. Where I'd like a scene where we cut to the bandits and they're starving as well.
Yeah.
And they have no other choice but to do these bandits raids. Maybe they don't want to. You know what I mean? Maybe have some more grays rather than black and whites would have helped me a little bit more. Or maybe some of the samurais have a scene where one of the samurai wants to rape the girl and then the others pull him back. Maybe have some sort of a moral depth. Because I'm not saying I'm promoting rape in film. I'm just trying to say that that's a thing that happens in war. You know what I mean? It's sort of like,
I think it's intentional though, because I feel like in order to make his point, he has to present a world in which it is kind of like samurai good, peasant. And I don't think Kurosawa thinks that. I think he's trying to get the audience to question that.
Right.
But in order to have the audience question that, you kind of have to present it that way. But that's a very interesting point. Because I do feel, I felt that about the samurais. I thought they were all like pretty competent, all pretty smart. Even the even the kookiest kind of reject samurai is still good at being a samurai, just like in a different way and naked. Like his butt cheeks are out all the time, which I love. I love his little white butt cheeks. Yeah.
And even the peasants themselves, they don't go beyond cowardice, I think.
Yeah.
They're mostly just terrified all the time, which is fair.
They just seem
I would be very
simple,
terrified. Simple. Yeah,
it's like,
that's fair.
Samurai are coming? Okay, I'm going to cut your hair so you're a boy. Like, no thought process.
I wanted to ask you, because I struggle with this in action films, that sometimes my eyes glaze over when there's so much action for 20 or 30 minutes.
A bit too much.
You need to build up to this big action sequence, but it's like 3 hours long. And there is some ingenuity that they do where there's this idea where they take one of the bandits in and then they trap him and then they keep doing this over and over again. You kind of feel like,
so I actually was surprised how much I enjoyed this scenes of the samurai fighting the bandits, but I agree with you, I think it dragged. But I also read that this was like the most expensive movie ever at the time to make, so I think he just had he needed someone to rein in his grand vision a little bit, but it could have been a lot worse. I feel like so many action movies we watch in the contemporary period have such boring sequences. Like, films and shows are rife with pointless, boring sequences.
Absolutely.
They need to go back to this and reference this. Like, everything is crafted to show the personality of the samurai. Or maybe, I do agree it dragged, but I thought in general this is masterclass in action.
And almost every shot could be a painting. It's so beautiful. That's Kurosawa. You know. Did you? So good. Were you a bit annoyed by the lack of female characters? Because I always think about that when I watch these big epics, because they could be improved by more feminine characters.
I just don't. That's just not what the movie's about. So I feel that it would, I don't know. And the other thing is at the time it was made, right? Like, if something with these same themes were made in today's society, I would be offended at the lack of women. Right? But I just feel that
for that time, I guess,
and if he had a whole thing about showing it through the eyes of the women or something like that, I would love it. I would eat it up. I would for sure watch it. But then the movie would be 6 hours long. So it just didn't
Fair enough. Yeah.
But I want to ask you, what has stuck with you about this movie? You definitely love it. So
definitely.
What do you love about it?
It's not my favorite Kurosawa, but I think
your favorite is High and Low, right?
High and Low is probably my favorite, and I have a very soft spot for Yojimbo. I would highly recommend Yojimbo. It's fun. That's a fun movie. Rashomoni's also great, but a lot of lines in this are really poetic and they really stuck with me. There was one line that was it is when you feel that you are the most safe is when you're the most vulnerable. Where I think there were a few other lines. I might dig them up.
That the translation was worse in this one?
Yeah, they felt a little bit more clunky, and the thing that we noticed, both of us, is in this screening there was a lot of Americanisms like y'all or crackers. I don't know what they were using. Weird.
The translation was so weird.
Yeah.
Does that mean we weren't watching the Criterion Collection?
I don't think so. I can't remember what edition I watched with, because I watched it like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But it does really, really impact the film that you're watching.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like we saw EE, and I thought the translations on that were really bad. I think they should be redone. But anyway, it for sure impacts because we're watching so much foreign film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I'll take what I can get. I'm very lucky enough to get these in the first place.
But I mean, it's like that. Like, of course, if we understood the native language, it would be better. But like, what can you do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, shall we? Let's wrap up with Seven Samurai. Would you recommend it?
Yeah, everyone has to watch it. Oh my god, you just have to watch it. I do think it's long, but you can just break it up.
Yeah, treat it like a mini series. Like an hour.
Yeah. I would rewatch it, but it's just so long, so we'll see. TBD.
Yeah, I definitely would recommend it. It's a classic. Yeah. All right. So we're probably going to do the Singapore Film Festival next. I don't know if we're going to talk about any of them. It's to be decided.
We definitely should.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I think it's so interesting because Singapore has so many, like, German Film Festival, French Film Festival, Korean Film Festival.
Absolutely.
Like, it's hard to keep up. And I think they're, like, sponsored by the embassies or have some cultural funding.
Yeah.
But anyway, Singapore International Film Festival is November through December. And Anand and I are going to see a lot of different films. Some of them are premieres, I think. I don't think we're seeing anything that's, like, by a Singaporean filmmaker. But it will be interesting. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Life is rich. We're living in exciting times.
Anyone tells you Singapore is boring, there's so much to do.
Go out.
There's so much to do. We also saw a 25th anniversary screening of In the Mood for Love in Cantonese.
It was wonderful.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Take care. See you next time.